Oh, the Force is going to be strong with this review. So strong, in fact, that it could actually make Carrie Fisher fly in space in a Superman pose. Hey guys, this is Animat, and welcome back to Animat's Blu-ray reviews, and today what I have for you is Star Wars The Last Jedi. Not only the 8th installment in the legendary Star Wars saga, but of course, the biggest movie of 2017. And what I have here is actually the multi-screen edition of The Last Jedi. Now, I did some research onto what this multi-screen edition is, and basically you don't have to worry about it too much because it's nothing really special, to be honest. This is actually just something in which is relatively new that Disney is doing in order to go and promote their new Movies Anywhere app, in order to put it digitally so that you can go ahead and watch it on your smartphone, on your tablet, on your computer, and all that kind of stuff. And like I said, it is relatively new. They started doing this just a few weeks before, or actually a month before the release of this Blu-ray with Coco, and then afterwards they did it with Thor Ragnarok, and now they're doing it with Star Wars The Last Jedi. So, before I get into this Blu-ray in particular, allow me to go ahead and give you guys my thoughts onto The Last Jedi. And to be honest, I'm actually one of those people that think, screw the haters, because this is actually great. The beauty of Star Wars The Last Jedi actually comes from both its visuals and from its characters. Visually, it is absolutely stunning. The scale is absolutely grand, and also I really do admire the strong use of not just the CGI in order to create the large worlds of Star Wars, but also the very heavy and really prominent use of the practical effects, because there are a lot of moments that you can feel that there are many things in there, including like the aliens, the sets, and all that kind of stuff. They really are legitimately there because they literally are legitimately there. And also, when it comes to the characters, a lot of them, both written-wise and in terms of the performances by the actors, they are very strong. In fact, some of the best in the Star Wars franchise, especially the way that they would expand upon these characters, both old and new. I love the use of Rey and Kylo Ren, how they really grew upon their characters, and to really show which side they really on and what they're fighting for and what they want in life. And also the use of Mark Hamill as Luke Skywalker, really bringing him back. And I would have to say this is probably his best performance in a live-action production. It really is worth it to see him return in this. And on top of that, they also have some other great characters in there, including Finn. And honestly, I'm one of those people that actually really do like the addition of Rose. I know that she would get a lot of hate, but I think she really is a great addition into the Star Wars saga. However, if I do have any criticisms in terms of The Last Jedi, well, honestly, I really do. It's the fact that it is legitimately long. In fact, maybe a little too long. Because this movie is about 2 hours and a half. This is 150 minutes, so it really does feel like they literally stitched two movies into one. And that really is the case, because you got two major plot lines going on. The one with Rey and Luke, and also the one with Finn and Rose. And they really didn't do that much of a job to try to really connect these two together. Like, they are thinly attached in some way or another, but really, you can pretty much split these two movies up, and they would just pass out as their own movies, respectively. That, and also the plot line related to Poe is not really that comprehensible. Like, it's not that easy to know which direction that they really wanted to go with, so it wasn't that easy to fully understand that one. The writing needed a lot more work on it, to be honest, but other than that, it is really well done. I really do admire the execution on both the acting, since it is very heavy character driven, which is great, and also the special effects are absolutely phenomenal. Maybe it's not the best well, actually no, it's for sure this is not the best Star Wars movie out there, but this is a worthy addition. So, with all that said and done, One thing that this Blu-ray did not skip out on, it is the bonus features, and there really are a large amount of bonus features in here. Actually, interestingly enough, that's not actually true. There isn't a lot of bonus features in terms of quantity, but what they hold inside, that's the real power that it has. Like, in terms of quality, like, this is very strong. In fact, it does answer a lot of questions related to what's been happening in this movie in particular. Now, let me go and just read to some of you guys what they actually hold. And the first thing that they have, and honestly, I find it to be the smartest thing that Lucasfilm has done for this Blu-ray, is something called Balance of the Force. And in there, it actually answers a lot of the questions in terms of the creative decisions done by Rian Johnson in terms of possibly the most controversial aspect of this movie, the way it uses the Force. Because this is the film in which it really does rewrite what people knew about what the Force is in particular. And in here, Rian Johnson really does go deep down into what the Force is in general and what they can do with the Force. And he really does describe very well about many of his creative decisions of how it connects well with the movie and also how it would connect with the lore of Star Wars. So this is honestly a really important one that they added in, and honestly, I find it very clever for Lucasfilms to actually do something about it. Very risky, but honestly, it's actually very well made in terms of trying to address one of the biggest issues that people have with The Last Jedi. Another one that they have is actually scene breakdowns in which they look into particular scenes in the movie and they really get into the making of each of them. Combined all together, they're actually about an hour, no, not an hour, but like, they go for a half hour long when you watch all three of them at once. The first one is called Lighting the Spark, Creating the Space Battle. This one is actually reflected upon how the crew would actually go and create the big space battles between the giant ships like the X-Wing and the Star Destroyers and all that kind of stuff. So they really go down into the ships and how they go into creating all the battles, all the explosions, and like what's going on the inside as well. Another one that they went into is called Snoke and Mirrors, and that one describes everything about the making of the character Snoke, which is like the ultimate villain in this movie right over here. Kind of like the Emperor Palpatine of The Last Jedi. So they really do describe how they went from Andy Serkis's performance all the way up to creating the final product, which we see as Snoke, which is, I think, the only thing in here that's actually a motion capture character. And then finally, the last one is actually Showdown on Crate, which that one right there describes the creative process on how to create the ultimate final battle at the end of the movie with the area that is completely covered by salt, and then you see underneath it's like all these crystals that's pretty much ruby red. So they pretty much describe that scene pretty well. Another one that they have is called Andy Serkis Live, one night only. And that one is something that Rian Johnson and the crew at ILM and Lucasfilm, they decided to keep that particular scene and just put it right over here. It's basically the whole scene where Rey and Kylo Ren, they meet face to face with Snoke. And in there, the only difference that it is between the movie and this bonus feature is that they completely removed all the special effects of Snoke so that you can only see Andy Serkis. And what this bonus feature serves as a purpose is to show, it's really to highlight Andy Serkis's performance, because sure, there are a lot of people out there that can really be amazed by the special effect onto what they've done with Snoke, but really a lot of it is done by Andy Serkis and his performance to show you how Andy Serkis's performance really does make Snoke. It's less about the special effects and is less about the CGI, and it's more on the performance and how it really is Andy Serkis that made Snoke in the first place. And of course, you would get some of your typical ones. You got an audio commentary from Rian Johnson, and also you got deleted scenes, which in this one, they also got an option which you can get commentary from Rian Johnson, where you would go and describe, where, like, not you would go, but how he would go and talk about the reasons why they were removed and what purpose do they serve. And a lot of them, they're meant more to just expand upon the characters, but it's not necessary to have them in the movie. So that's the whole thing with those deleted scenes. But that's not all, though, because I saved the biggest one for last, because what it has in here is actually a feature-length documentary. It actually goes between 90 minutes to 100 minutes, and this bonus feature is actually called The Director and the Jedi, which pretty much chronicles the entire filming process and the entire filming production, and we see it from the point of view of Rian Johnson. And what this bonus feature serves, what this entire documentary is for, at least the way I interpret it, is that it really does show the grand scale of the production in Star Wars, or at least in this movie in particular. Now, it doesn't necessarily look into the pre-production or the post-production, so you don't really see the elements of writing, and you don't really see the elements of the post-production where they add in the CGI effects and the editing and all that kind of stuff. They mainly focus on the filming, where they would go and create the giant sets, where they would go and create all the creatures, and they would also interact with the actors, which is also a major highlight in this documentary right over here. Since a lot of it is mainly focused on Rian Johnson's journey into the making of this film, it also highlights on the relationship between the actors and Rian Johnson, and a lot of them are very fascinating. Like, they do look into Daisy Ridley, they look, of course, into Carrie Fisher, and especially, probably, the most memorable one is actually the relationship between Luke Skywalker himself, Mark Hamill, and Rian Johnson, where in there, it's kind of like a love-hate relationship in a sense, where they really do highlight that Mark Hamill is really not a fan with the creative choices that Rian Johnson has done for Luke Skywalker. He doesn't like the fact that he's more pessimistic and what would end up happening to him and all that kind of stuff. Like, he doesn't like the way Luke Skywalker is written. However, even with all that, Mark Hamill is still highly dedicated to make the best out of what he's been given. Like, even though he doesn't like this Luke Skywalker whatsoever, he will do his best to deliver a phenomenal performance, to take what he's been given and to pretty much turn it into gold, which I must say, he really did such a phenomenal job, what Mark Hamill did, so major props on that. But yeah, this documentary really is worth watching to really show the dedication and to show, like, the huge amount of effort that has really been put into this movie. So, if you get this, then that's the one thing you really gotta watch. Not just the movie itself, but you also gotta see the documentary just to really understand the amount of work that's actually been put into The Last Jedi. Now, one thing I will say about this one in particular is that, of course, this is not the only version that you can actually go and buy. Now, what I have in my hands, you can only get the Blu-ray and digital. This one doesn't actually come with the DVD, which is a little bit disappointing to find, and I do notice that it's starting to be a little bit more common that movie companies are releasing Blu-rays without the DVD, so we could be living in the age where it is the beginning of the end of DVDs in general. However, I will say that there does exist a version where you can actually go and get The Last Jedi on DVD, Blu-ray, and digital, but I think it's one of those where it's exclusive to certain stores like Walmart or Target, but I know they do exist, so you can get that version. You can get this one where it's only Blu-ray and digital. You can also get one that's on DVD, And also, you can get it in 4K, where the 4K version also comes with the Blu-ray and the digital. Oh, and there is one more thing that I almost forgot to mention. Now, this Blu-ray in particular actually does come with two of them. One is entirely dedicated to the movie itself, and the second is actually all the bonus features. So if you want to find the documentary and the deleted scenes and all that kind of stuff, then you have to go immediately to the second Blu-ray disc. So, with all that said and done, now that I looked into the movie and I looked into all the bonus features, then the only thing I have to do now is just give it a rating, which honestly, I gotta give this a 9 out of 10. This is one of those Blu-rays that really does reward you if you decide to go buy it and you made the decision to have the movie at home and you want to watch it wherever you want, whether it be on TV or just use the digital to go and check it out on your smartphone, your tablet, your computer, or whatever. Not only is it a great movie in itself, but also the bonus features really does answer a lot of the major questions that fans would have, not only regarding what's in the movie, but also how they make a lot of the stuff in the movie, how they fully develop some of these characters, how they made a lot of these practical effects, the scale of the entire movie, even answering some of the big questions like, why did they decide to do these things with the Force? So really, it knows very well about its own strengths and really dives deep into them with the bonus features. So it really does deliver everything that fans of this movie would like to know. Now, in terms of my recommendation about this Blu-ray, I would have to say that this is definitely a must-own for anybody who doesn't hate Star Wars: The Last Jedi. If you saw this movie and you liked it, and you didn't think like this thing either ruined your childhood or you were personally offended by any of this, or if you didn't come out hating it, then this is definitely a must own. You definitely gotta have this. And like I said before, if you do get it, then the bonus features are equally as important to check out as the movie itself, because seriously, the documentary of the director and the Jedi is totally worth watching right after Star Wars: The Last Jedi. Actually, please don't do that unless you have so much time, because I just realized, wait a minute, that's actually, like, we're talking about a 2.5-hour movie, and then you got a documentary that's like 90 minutes long, so that's like more than 4 hours of an entire experience right there. But yeah, I do recommend that you really gotta go and check out the documentary. So yeah, for any Star Wars fan that is that really did enjoy The Last Jedi, or anybody who does enjoy The Last Jedi, then yeah, this is definitely worth owning. So, with all that said and done, that's pretty much it with my review of Star Wars: The Last Jedi. So I just want to say thank you guys so much for watching, and don't forget to go ahead and check out FilmBook if you want to check out more of my stuff, if you want to see more Blu-ray reviews, or if you want to check out some of my other things that I do on FilmBook, including the animation podcast. Then all you have to do is go to film-book.com and also check out many of their social media websites. However, if you guys are more interested in me and you enjoyed the aspects that includes me, then all you have to do is go to my YouTube channel, Electric Dragon 505, along with many other social media sites that I'm on, including Facebook, Twitter, and of course I do have a Patreon if you really do like what I do and you want to go ahead and support my work. So, that's all I've got for here, so I just want to say thank you guys so much for watching, and may the Force be with you, and until next time, see you later, dudes!